Shalom, Israel, shalom. It's your brother Joshua back with another quick coffee break and a quick exhortation for the brothers and the sisters in the truth, man. Right? First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. That is to say, all praise to the Heavenly Father, whom the world calls God, and the name is only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? And I just want to come get a quick exhortation, right, to tell our brothers and sisters that we have to start loving one another, preferring one another, and growing that bond, right, together in these last days, man, and starting loving us first before trying to reach out and love everybody else, right? You cannot love everybody else without loving yourself first, and right, taking the proper steps to heal your own and love your own people in these last days. There's no such thing as going outside loving everybody else without loving your own self. We have not figured out ourselves first, our downfalls, our problems, right? It's too much attacking amongst one another, it's too much hatred, evil eye towards one another. And the Lord told us to prefer one another in these last days, man, right? If you ever think that you're going to succeed in life and grow as a people, as a nation, there's no way you can be loving everybody else without loving your own self first. Looking in the mirror, hating your own self, you should be looking at your brother, your fellow Black, Hispanic, and Native American brother and sister, and see your own self, your own reflection within them. All right? So let's kick it off with the classic. In the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 10, it says, "Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another," man. Right? So the Lord said, look, you should be looking at each other with honor and preferring one another in the last days. You have to prefer your own people, man, your neighbors, right? Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are the Israelites, man, God's chosen people. You have to learn to prefer your own rather than trying to travel outside to other nations and trying to make yourself equal, right, in dealing with these other people, right? You have to love your own first. You have to solve problems in your own household first before you can go outside and try to deal with other people, man. And a lot of problem with our people is our judgment is off. We like to judge people and you know, as far as telling what they are, what they're not, what status they're on, what type of clothes they're wearing, you know, all these things, man. And the unrighteous judgment goes out, you know, tenfold with our people, man. We look down on a status that a brother may have in the world or the things that they're doing instead of trying to build them up, right? And that's in the law that we have to judge a righteous judgment, right? So let's get that real quick, man. We got to learn how to judge, man, in these last days, right? Because the Lord did say that you have to judge by the law. You cannot judge anybody with your own mind, your own concept. You have to deal with them according to the law, right? So check this out. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 15. It says, "Ye shall do no unrighteous judgment." Slakia, let me read that again. It says, "Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment," right? "Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor." See that? So whenever you hear people saying, "Oh, you can't judge me, only God can judge me," that's not in the Bible. That's not biblical. The Lord said, judge righteous judgment, right? You make a conscious judgment every day. When you make a decision to do something, you make a judgment, right? So when you see your brother in the wrong, man, you have the right to judge them according to the law. If they're going off and they're sinning, man, you judge them according to that, right? To get them back on that right path. But our problem is our people judge people when they're doing the same thing, right? A lot of our people are hypocrites and they behind closed doors doing the same thing that they're out in the open judging other people, man, about. right? Say, for instance, man, you smoking weed, man. You can't go out and be telling somebody like, a child, look, you're a young man, you shouldn't be smoking that weed. You shouldn't be smoking them cigarettes, man. That's going to destroy you, right? You're going to catch cancer when you get older, man. That's destroying your body. But yet, you outside packing cigarettes, man, and rolling up big blunts, man. That child going to look at you like, hold on, man. You a hypocrite, man. You telling me not to do these certain things, but yet you out here doing the same thing, right? That's unrighteous judgment, right? And our people see that. And that's a lot of things. That's a lot of reasons why our people deter from the truth and hearing the words of the Lord, because they see a lot of hypocritical activities going on, man. That's why the Lord said, don't do no unrighteousness in judgment. You have to be righteous in your judgment, right? So check this out real quick, right? This is what the Lord is talking about, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, judge not that ye be judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, right? And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured unto you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye, right? You can't judge somebody, right, and tell them to stop smoking weed, but yet you're smoking weed, right? That's unrighteous judgment. You're trying to get the mote out of somebody else's eye, but yet that mote is still in your eye, right? The Lord said this about that. He says, or how wilt thou say to thy neighbor, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold the beam that is in thine own eye? How are you going to try to get somebody else to stop sinning, but yet you're still doing the same thing, man? That's off as hell, right? And it says, thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam that is in thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. You see how that works, man? That's righteous judgment. That's how you judge righteously, man. First, clean yourself up. Clean the inner parts of you that you can judge your neighbor properly, man. And that's what we make a mistake as our people, man. We unjustly judge our own people, man. And we hate each other, right? We essentially hate each other, man. And that stuff has got to stop. The Lord said you have to prefer your own in these last days, man. We rather jump off to some other foreign nation or stranger rather than try to clean up and build up our people, right? And that's what you see the men out there on the highways and hedges doing, man. Trying to give that righteous judgment to our people to wake them up, right? And show them that they are special in the earth, right? But our people don't want to listen to those things. They fight, they deter from it, right? And they don't want to take that righteous judgment because they have been destroyed for so long from these other nations. And they hear things like, thou cannot judge me. Only God can judge me. Things of that nature, man. Right. And they look at you with disgust and hatred. And another thing that's a problem in our community is, man, the talking, the behind the back, the gossiping, right? The slander. All these things are heavy on our people, man. That's a terrible demon that we deal with, right? We're constantly tearing down one another, man. Constantly gossiping. If a brother tell you a secret, man, the first thing you do is you run out the door and you go tell somebody else, man. The Lord said you're supposed to let that die with you. You're supposed to take that to the grave. You're supposed to be confident in your brother that you can speak these words and it won't go as far as that conversation, man. But our people are real terrible about gossiping. Right. And we're a lawless people because that's also in the law, man. Going back to that. Right. Let's go back to Leviticus real quick. Let's go to Leviticus 19. And the next verse, chapter 16, verse 16, it says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord, right? So it says, thou shalt not go up and down right? As a talebearer among thy people, man. Meaning gossiping. You can't go up and down gossiping amongst your people. That is the worst thing you can do, is gossiping, telling people's business constantly, right? Giving out information that was entrusted to you. That's evil. That's wicked in the eyes of the Lord, man. Soon as you hear a bit of information, first thing you doing is you running out the front door to go speak wicked against somebody, man, and tell everything, right? The Lord said you should let that should go to the grave with you, man. Your brother should always trust you with these things, man. And that's how we lose a lot of brotherly relationships and friends and things of that nature, man. Because your evil communication, man. All right, let's get that real quick. Let me get that. 1 Corinthians. All right, let's go to Salakia, 1 Corinthians 15. In verse 33, it says, be not deceived. Evil communication corrupted good manners, man. Evil communication corrupts good manners, man. That's how you become a friend to an enemy. Just like that, man. Because your evil communication. You can't keep the bar of your lips closed, man. Right? You can't keep something that was entrusted to you to yourself. All right. The Lord said, what your conversation, right? Let me not paraphrase. Let me get that real quick. Right? Let me get that in Colossians real quick. I don't want to paraphrase that. Right. The Lord said this. Right. Check this out. It's the book of Colossians chapter 4 and verse 6. It says, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ought to answer every man. So you want to have that grace every time you speak, man. Right? Have compassion. Move with wisdom. Right? Your words should be with knowledge. The Lord said your mind and every thought, knowledge should reach you, man. Right? It should meet you at every thought. So when you're tempted to go out and speak the words of somebody that is giving you, hey, man, wisdom should automatically come to you and say, hey, okay, yeah, I can't do that. That's my brother. I love my brother. I'm going to keep that within me. I'm going to hold that and let him trust in me, that I will not go out there and allow my mouth to run rampant and speak evil against my brother and put out all his business, man. You know, that's what we got to do in these last days, man. If we really love our people, we have to start trusting one another, man. Right? And giving a reason to be trusted. Because, hey, man, a lot of times, man, when you see a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters around each other, man, hey, it's utter chaos, man. It's turmoil. It's always hatred. It's fighting, brawling, bickering. Why? Because it's always a he say, she say problem, man. And we don't notice that. You want to run to social media and blast everybody and, relationships that have been for 7, 10 years or whatever. Now you on social media breaking down everything since the first time you met to the very last day, man. All the gossip, all the beans have been stole, the tea that they say. That's evil, man. And our people got that bad, man. That's evil in the sight of the Lord, man. You're not supposed to be gossiping. And another thing, right, just to move further along is, man, we don't protect one another as we should. We refuse to protect one another, man. First of all, we killing one another at a rapid rate. Our eye is evil towards our brother because we under these curses because we don't want to keep the commandments of the Most High, man. And we still haven't figured that out yet. That's why we look at each other with disgust, disdain. When we look at each other up and down, we don't even know each other from Adam, but yet we want to fight as soon as we see each other, man. He looked at you 30 seconds too long. Now it's a problem. That brother got another color on, man, that you don't like. Or you claiming a street that you don't even own, man. You can't even spell the street name. And you out here banging on the block, selling poison to your brothers, man. And then, especially when another nation come in and oppress your people, man, slamming your people on the ground, on the hood of cars, man, putting their knee on their neck, and you standing around just, hey, man, filming. That's all you doing. Watching people getting jumped, shot down in the streets, and you just allowing that to happen. The Lord said that's an evil thing in his eye, man. You're not supposed to watch your neighbor die, man. You're supposed to actually give your life for your brother, man. Protect your people. And that's one thing that we don't do. We don't protect one another, man. We leave each other out in high water to drown, man. Right? Let's go back to it, man. All right, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, back in verse 16. It says, "Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord," man. You're not supposed to stand against the blood of your neighbor, meaning you're not supposed to stand idly by while your neighbor, his life is being threatened. When you see a cop or anybody else fighting one of your brothers or your sisters with a knee on their neck, man, choking the life out of them, man, beating them half to death, man, you're supposed to be able to lay your life down for your people, man. At least stop the situation, right? Get them away from them. We don't do that. We gather around as if it's a spectacle. We allow these things to happen, and then we want to go put on a t-shirt and say, "Hey, man, rest in peace. Oh, it shouldn't have happened." When we had the power in our hands right there to make that stop. Because we're supposed to love our people. We don't do that, man. Better them than me. That's the attitude we got. That has to stop. In these last days, man, it has to stop. Right? Check it. The Lord said this, man. Right? The book of John. Right? Let's get these scriptures out, man. Right? It's the book of John, chapter 15, verse 13. The Lord said, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends," man. There's no greater love than that a man is going to lay down his life for his friends, man. There's no greater love than that. You can't get no higher than that, man. If you're willing to put your life on the line for your friend, your brother, your neighbor, your sister, man. Hey, man, ain't no greater love than that, man, in the eyes of the Lord, man. That's beautiful, right? But our people are afraid to do that because they selfish and they think about themselves, man, rather than the love of their neighbors, man. Right? They'll put their life on the line for Esau, man. Right? You quick to defend Becky out there, Jake. Eve, you quick to defend Tom and them. But your brother, man, nah. You look at him with disgust, man. That nigga ain't ish. That B ain't ish. Man, F my baby mama. F my baby daddy. You quick to say that, man. But soon as you see a heathen bow down and kiss the boot, you ready to go to war, man. The Lord said there's no greater love than you putting your life down for your people, man. That's actually a beautiful thing in the sight of the Lord, man. Right? Check this out, man. Check this out, right? Check this out. Let's go to Psalms real quick. Right? Psalms 116 and verse number 15. It says, "Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints," man. I know some of y'all be like, hold on, wait, man, I gotta die to be precious in the sight of the Lord? No, he said that's a precious thing, man, when you giving up your life, man, for the Lord, for this truth, for your brethren, man. That's a beautiful thing in sight, because guess what, man? That's that golden ticket, man, to the kingdom, man. You giving up your life for your neighbor in righteousness, man. That's a beautiful thing to the Lord, man. That's a precious thing in his sight, is the death of his saints. And brothers put their life on the line every weekend, man. Every Sabbath to go out and prophesy and speak to the people, right? To wake up our people and tell them that you are truly kings and princesses on this earth, man. You are the rightful rulers. right? Showing that true love that the Lord told us to do, that showed us how to do these things, man. That's real love. But a lot of our people can't get that concept because they've been destroyed in the mind for so long. And that's what true love is, when you see those brothers, out maybe yelling at you, but they're not yelling at you to make you feel some type of way, make you feel bad, tear you down. No, that's actually love, man. The Lord said, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, show them their sins. It don't matter about their feelings or how they feel. Go and show them that they're they're in error, right? To show them to come back to me before it's too late. What he say in Ezekiel 3:17, man, I made you a watchman, right, to the house of Israel. Go and give them warning for me. Warn my people of their evil ways to turn from that. But our people take that approach differently and say, hey, man, all the yelling and everything, man, y'all need to take a different approach. No, man, that's actually love. All right, let's go back to Leviticus real quick, man. Let's go back to Leviticus. All right, Leviticus 19:17, it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Right? So by me loving you, I have to tell you where you're going wrong, so I can keep you away from that edge of the cliff before you fall off. Right? If I might have to yell at you to tell you, hey, there's a cliff right there, back up, and you get mad and get offended and you keep going, then that's your death. But if you take heed to that, I have done my job to help save your life and pull you away from that sure death. That's what the Lord said. Hey, man, thou shalt not hate thy brother. That would be me hating you if I didn't tell you, if you take 10 more steps, you're going to fall off of that cliff. No, but our people, we say, well, shoot, better him than me. That ain't me. That's his life. If he want to do that, hey, YOLO, you only live once, right? If he want to take his life, that's on him. No, man, you hate your people, man. He over there about to put a damn meth pipe to his mouth. And you saying, shoot, he probably been going through it, man. He need to get right. He probably put a blunt to his mouth, man. He need a cigarette. Man, let me go take this brother out and get him drunk out of his mind, man. He drown us all. No, man, you hate your brother. You hate him. Girl, shoot. Hey, he out there doing his thing, girl. You go do your thing. Go sleep with that other man, shoot. It's all good. Do what you do. That's hatred. You hate your neighbor, man. You're wicked. He said, don't suffer sin upon them. Right? Judge righteous judgment. But we don't do that, man. The Lord said this, man, in Proverbs, man. Let's get the classic. Proverbs 27 and verse 5. And it reads, open rebuke is better than secret love, man. I should be able to openly rebuke you, and you should be able to take it with love and understand that, hey, man, all he doing is kind of correct me. That's like our parents back in the day, man. They whoop our behind and then they sit down and say, look, I do this because I love you. And you as a kid, you crying and sniffing and you don't love me. You just beat me. Nah, they trying to pull your behind out of trouble, man. Trying to put you on that righteous path to stay away from that path that you was going down, the destruction. You didn't understand that then, that your parents did love you when they whooped your behind, man. That's the same way now. I have to sometimes tear you down to build you up, to make you better, man. To pull you away from that sudden death, man. I have to do that. Some people can take it with a few simple words and say, okay, I needed that, brother. That was cool. I'm glad you told me that. And some brothers, you got to get on their behind, man, and rebuke them sharply. and pull them out of that destruction. Right? It speaks about that in Jude, man. Let's get that real quick. Check this out. This is the book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse. It says, I'll just start at 20. It says, but ye beloved, but ye beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Spirit. Keep yourselves in the love of Yahweh, looking for mercy of our Lord Amashiach Yahushai unto eternal life. And some having compassion, making a difference. And others saved with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh, man. Some that you have to pull out of the fire, man. Saving them with fear. You got to strike fear in their heart, man. You have to strike fear in their hearts, man. To deter them away from that fire, man. Because if you don't, it's death. If they don't listen to you, it's surely death. And at the same time, when you're teaching them to get away from that, you're washing their blood off of your hands, man. Because if you don't speak on it and you don't warn them, then that blood is on your hands, man. You got to take that opportunity to do good, to love your people. That's in Ezekiel 3 and 17, man. If you don't speak to warn them, then it's on you. But if you're speaking to tell them and warn them and they don't turn from that, then that's on them. But at the same time, you have to do that. That's the love of your neighbor, man. All right, let's get another one, man. Let's go to Hebrews. Right, let's go to Hebrews. Chapter 3 and verse 12, it says, take heed, brethren, lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God, but exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through deceitfulness of sin, man. So you have to exhort your people daily, right, to keep them away from sin, man, so that they don't fall away from the Lord, man, right? And that they fall into the deceitfulness of sin, man, and be overtaken and destroyed. We have to exhort each and every one of us, our people, daily. Why today is today? Because eventually all these things, right, are going to dissolve and burn away, man. All these things are going to, hey, man, it's going to be gone soon, man. Right? Let me get this real quick. Let me, what is it that I'm thinking about? Let me see. I think it's First Peter, right, or 2 Peter. It says, 2 Peter 3 and 11, it says, seeing then, matter of fact, yeah, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So what conversation should you be having among one another, man? Should you be partying and hanging out all the time, doing all these things, man? Speaking of nonsense and foolishness, man. No, you should be exhorting your brothers, man. Speaking of godly conversations, man. Things that accompany the kingdom, man. Right? Putting away sin. Seeing all these things are going to be burnt up and taken away, man. What kind of conversation should you be having, man, with your people? What kind of relationship should you be having, man? Right? And that's what we should be thinking about in these last days, man. To exhort our brothers and our sisters in these last days, man. To do right, man. Judging that righteous judgment, man, pulling them out of the fire, man. The Lord said this in Proverbs, man, going back to Proverbs, right? Let's go to Proverbs 27 and 17. It says, iron sharpeneth iron, so man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend, right? So iron sharpens iron. He sharpens the countenance of his friends, man. We build one another up with brotherly love. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, is building one another with brotherly love. and keeping the commandment and not forsaking one another and leaving each other out there in high waters to drown, man, or to be devoured by the sharks. Right? We're all in the midst of trouble, turmoil, right? Mourning, destruction, stress, anguish, grief, all these things, man. We're in the midst of that together. Zion is mourning together. We all need that help. That's why we got to prefer one another and love one another and assemble together in these last days, right? To be able to comfort those that mourn, that we may receive the kingdom, man, because the kingdom is within us. We have to build it within us, our nation, man. All right, let's get another precept. All right, let's get another precept. Let's go to Hebrews, right? The mighty book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse number Hebrews 10 and 25. It says, I'm starting 24. It says, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and unto good works, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching, man. Right? We can't forsake the assembly of one another, man. We have to continue to exhort one another, man, as we see the day coming, man. The dark times are approaching, man. That's why I said, let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, man. That's what we have to do, is consider one another with love and provoke one another to good works in these last days, man. And assemble and not forsaking the assembly together with one another. That's another commandment, that we have to gather together in these last days, man. Right? That's how you know we've been living as a lawless people for so long, because we don't like to gather together in righteousness. Only time you see Jake gathering together is because of, you know, pure madness, man, and clubbing and you know, whatever it is, going out and just into pure foolishness, man. That's what we do. Instead of gathering together and going into the law, statutes, and commandments, man, celebrating the high holy days of the Lord, man, loving one another, man, building one another up, gathering in righteousness, man, right? Because the last days, man, our friends, we have to choose wisely, man, being always with a godly man. That's what the Lord tells us. Be always continually with your godly man, right? Let's get another precept real quick, because let's go to the Apocrypha. So the Lord said this, man, about a friend, right? Let's go to the Apocrypha. Right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 6, and I'll start at verse 14. It says, a faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such and one hath found a treasure. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also, man. Right? So a faithful friend, man, is a defense against all these things, right? Because what the Lord say in Ecclesiastes, right? When two or three are together, they are not easily broken when Satan tries to come and attack, man. When you have problems, you have that brother that you can call, that you can confide in, that you can get precepts from, that you can get counsel from, right? That's a strong defense against the principalities of this world and against their natural enemies, man. These other nations, that's the strong defense, man, right? And your neighbor is supposed to be a reflection of you. Y'all supposed to be one accord. The Lord said, being unequally yoked with people that don't believe, that's a false balance to the Lord. You can't be friends with the world, with people that's always want to be in drugs and fighting and doing all that, man, and thinking you serving the Lord. Being continued with a godly man, Right? The Lord, check this out. That's what I wanted, right? Let me give me Sirach 37, right? 37 and verse number 12. It says, but be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry, man. You see that? That's what the Lord says. Assemble yourselves together, man, and be always with a godly man that you know is to keep the commandments of the Father, man, to do the right thing, to make that righteous judgment, to keep you out of that fire, man, to break you down, to build you up, to strengthen you in your walk, and you him the same, right? That's what we're supposed to do. That's the brotherly love that we have to have in these last days, the neighborly love, the coming back and preferring our own in these last days, man. So we have to consider these things, right, and bring it back to our nation, our people, and start loving one another and gathering together as the Lord said in these last days, man. Right, let's get that in Zephaniah 2:1. I'm about to close it out. It's the book of Zephaniah, right? Chapter 2, Shalakia. Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1, it says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, man. The Lord said, gather yourself together, the nation that is not desired, man. Love your people, love your own, right? Have the brotherly love for yourselves. Stop seeking love for these other nations, man. Stop trimming your ways to seek love for them. Love your own first, man. Build your own people up, man. You can't love anybody else without loving you first, man. All right, so let me bring that out one more time in Romans. All right, it's Romans 12:10. Be ye kindly and affectionate one toward another. Right, Slack. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another, man. So prefer your people, man. Love your own. Save your people from their wickedness, brothers and sisters, man, and come back and gather together as the Lord commanded us in these last days, man. We hope that was edifying, man. And with that, I'm going to call it, giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Say, let's rise, Israel. Shalom.